Well, good, happy Wednesday morning to you, everyone. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma, and this is my morning musings. Look, before I get into lesson number 3 on Acts chapter 1, which was one of Dr. David Hesters' 23 arguments that he gave in our formal public debate here in Ardmore, Oklahoma, July of 2016, I just want to express my profound appreciation for all of you who have been watching these videos. The tremendous number of private emails and private messages that I have been receiving is truly, truly humbling. It's just such a wonderful thing to know that many of you who have been on Dr. David Hester's side, as it were, but who have begun to see the shallow nature, the lack of exegesis on Dr. David Hester's part. I just appreciate hearing from you so very, very much. And it's my hope, it's my prayer that you will keep studying, that you will have the open mind of the Berean. And so again, thank you so very, very much for all of you who are viewing this series, who have opened your hearts and your minds to think and to rethink. Well, this is video number 3 in regard to Dr. David Hester's argument on Acts chapter 1. His argument was Jesus ascended in a physical, fleshly, human body of a 5'5" Jewish man. He has to come back in like manner. Well, there's something we need to see here. It has always interested me when I began to see, pardon me, when I began to see the inconsistencies between that argument and how the New Testament, the rest of the New Testament, describes the coming of the Lord. On the one hand, Dr. David Hester would argue, Jesus left on a literal physical cloud in the human, physical, fleshly body of a 5'5" Jewish man. Now, it would be interesting to know, would it not, how Dr. David Hester feels about whether or not a human, fleshly, physical body can enter heaven. I mean, after all, Jesus left in a physical, human body of flesh. Went back to heaven. So, does Dr. Hester believe that a human, physical, fleshly body can enter heaven? If not, that poses some really interesting scenarios. But that's not what I want to talk about this morning. What I want to talk about this morning is the huge disparity between the insistence of men like Dr. David Hester, who say, in like manner, means exactly like he went up. Well, he went up in a human, physical, fleshly body of a 5'5" Jewish man. Well, let's see. In 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 16, Peter said, "We have not followed cunningly devised fables when we made known to you the power and the parousia of our Lord Jesus Christ. But we were eyewitnesses, for we were with him in the holy mountain, when the voice of majesty came, saying, 'This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased.'" Wait a minute, do you catch that? Peter said, and by the way, he is answering the scoffers who are denying the second coming. Peter is offering the Transfiguration as a vision of that parousia. So here are the scoffers denying the parousia. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 3. Peter is defending the doctrine of the parousia. 2 Peter 1:16 and following. As proof positive of the parousia, as leading exhibit number A, Peter gives the Mount of Transfiguration. Okay, so the Mount of Transfiguration, Jesus' transfiguration on the Mount, was a vision of Jesus' parousia. That's what Peter says. Did the vision of Jesus' parousia, his second coming, if you please, was it a vision of Jesus coming in a physical, fleshly body of a 5'5" Jewish man? Houston, we have a problem here. Jesus went up onto that mountain with his disciples in a human body of flesh of a 5'5" Jewish man. The disciples were not afraid of him as they went up on the mountain. But Jesus was transfigured, metamorphosis, radically changed, so radically changed that the disciples were scared to death. His clothes became whiter than any soap could get them. His face shined like the sun. Now remember, this transfigured appearance of Jesus was a vision of his second coming. But it was not a transfiguration, and it was not a vision of Jesus in his incarnate body of human flesh. Remember Revelation chapter 19. Here is John seeing a vision of Jesus' parousia. He's riding a white horse. Well, where's the horse in Acts chapter 1? And all the angels are with him. Where are the angels in Acts chapter 1? There's a great voice. Where's the great voice in Acts chapter 1? A sword comes out of his mouth. He's wearing a robe. Where's the sword coming out of his mouth in Acts 1? Where's the crown in Acts 1? And written on his thigh, it says, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Where was that in Acts chapter 1? Listen, ask yourself the question. If Jesus' second coming is to be the reappearing of the incarnate body, physical body of human flesh, then why did Jesus need to be transfigured? I mean, after all, why didn't the Lord just, elevate him and put him on a cloud there in front of the disciples and say, see, this is how he's coming again. You see him now, you see him there, that's what it's going to be like. No. Because the vision of the second coming of Christ on the Mount of Transfiguration bore absolutely no, quote, in like manner, unquote, resemblance to Acts chapter 1. And yet, the Transfiguration was, without a doubt, according to Peter, a vision of Christ's parousia. Now, there's an awful lot that goes along with that about Jesus being revealed, as I pointed out last video, as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Not as man, not in a body of humiliation, but as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I developed this extensively in my book, Like Father, Like Son, on Clouds of Glory. Please go to my website, donkpreston.com, eschatology.org, or bibleprophecy.com. Order the book, Like Father, Like Son, on Clouds of Glory. Send me a note that says you saw the offer on YouTube or Facebook, and I'll refund your shipping, and that will save you $5. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this morning's morning musings. There's a whole lot more we could say about Acts chapter 1 and in like manner, but it's time for us to examine Dr. David Hester's final affirmative argument, argument number 23. We will do that on the flip side. We'll see you there.